Welcome everyone to Off the Cuff. So happy to see everybody. Chat's flying on YouTube and on Rumble. I'm not sure there's people on Facebook. I haven't seen anybody, but we stream there as well. But this is a very packed show, probably the most I've ever done. And so I'm going to get right into it. I just got a couple little things I got to do. Okay. I got to do this. This is important. This is in about 6 weeks. We were just talking about this because we have to order. We're giving a gift to everybody that comes, and we have to order. We were just talking about it this morning. But there's a reason you don't want to miss this one. When you come, you'll find out. If you can get there, Avon, Indiana, free tickets, free pictures at the end. We pray for people. Bring the lost, bring those that need a touch from God, bring those that need healing. This is a very anointed and called group of people. It's at Pastor Steve Friedman's church. He's the guy up with the golf cap, and we got Carmine with us. Truly an evangelist. I mean, this stuff he will talk about will blow your mind. And then the Gathering Worship Band, we have Janet and Tony Campo, many other people. It will be live streamed, and we will send you the link. So subscribe, okay? Go to thegatheringmovement.org and subscribe, please, and you will get the link. If you want to come, go to thegatheringmovement.org and hit the gatherings on the top, and you will get all the information you need. You can get up to 6 tickets at a time, okay? All right, there's that. Now, the other thing is taking back our health. I have to do this every time because people write to me and they say, hey, you talk about this thing, but, did you ever, say that what it is? I need to know. I can't go through the whole thing, but what you can do is give me your name and your email, your information at Taking Back Our Health. I'm the one that gets it. This isn't spam stuff. I get it. I'll write back to you. I'll send you a video, I'll send you all kinds of stuff, and then you can understand it better. Okay. All right. So let's hop into this. I'm being told, don't forget to subscribe. Okay. Let me tell you what's happening. Rumble too. YouTube and Rumble take people from me. Literally. Now you say, well, no, people are unsubscribing. No, they're not. People write to me and say, did you block me, or I don't get your information anymore. And I don't see me, I Rumble, I can't get on, all this stuff. Now here's the deal. Please check. See if you're subscribed on YouTube. See if you're subscribed on Rumble. If you hit the little bell, it'll send it to you. If it doesn't, I write to them. I try to keep up with what's happening, but YouTube is still going back into my videos from 2 years ago and giving me a strike and telling me to take it down. Bizarro world. I live in bizarro world. Okay. So anyway, there's that. Please, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe wherever you are. Like Facebook, subscribe, YouTube, subscribe, Rumble. Okay. Awesome. All right. Michael Jackson, give you a little background. And again, you know how I layer. I'm a layer person. So I'm going to start in his past. And why did this come up? Let me tell you why it came up. Because a lot of people think they already know a lot. Maybe some do. But for most people, you really don't. At least you don't know the whole thing. You don't know behind the scenes. I was in the throes of management living in Hollywood, in San Fernando Valley, when in 2009, when Michael Jackson, what happened to him happened to him. Everything they've told us at that time and created a persona in him that was easy to believe because he was constantly remaking his face and everything because of his childhood, because of his father telling him how ugly he was. Okay. So the guy has some serious background. Okay. Most of what they told us was not true. I knew it then. And I know it even more so now. We all knew it out there. That first year, I was looking around to see if I could find him. Because if you remember that same year, it was in the future. I saw, I know these people, and I saw Robin Williams in Nashville. So this is not a conversation you've heard before. This isn't TMZ. It's definitely not a cancel culture recap. I couldn't resist. That's what I call it. The cancel culture's recaps. And TMZ, all that stuff. So this is what I do here. For those of you that are new, this is what Off the Cuff's about. We slow down, we ask real questions, we follow truth wherever it leads. Am I saying I know everything? No. Am I really good at research? Yes. Do I have a good discernment? Spot on, usually. Not 100%. I'm not God. I make mistakes, but pretty good. I do pretty good. Off the cuff, we ask real questions, and we actually follow wherever the truth may lead, even if we don't agree with it. That's the difference. If it flips everything that we believed, I will hit it. So buckle up, because the story that you were told about Michael Jackson is a bunch of bleep. Okay? A lot of it was curated, shaped, predictive programming. Flat out wrong. Okay, let's dive in. Gary, Indiana. Now, first of all, I'm going to tell you something about Gary, Indiana. It is in Augusta, Indiana. Not sure you realize it, but it is a den of pedophiles. Oh God, am I going to get taken down because I said that word? This is, so you guys know, this is just for entertainment purposes. This is not based on any facts, nothing. This is just for entertainment purposes. Everything I say, take it with a grain of salt. Okay? Awesome. Now, Indiana, yeah. Okay, you got to look it up, especially Augusta. But it is there, and also in Arizona. And Dennis, if you remember the name of that town, please text it to me, and I'll tell you where else. Arizona. You know where I'm talking about, babe. Most people, when they talk about Michael Jackson, they jump straight to the moonwalk or how eccentric he was. And he was. He was very eccentric. But if you don't understand where he came from, you cannot understand who he became. You cannot understand why he did what he did, why he tried to correct himself all the time. He was born in 1958 in Gary, Indiana. Joseph Jackson, his father, was a steel mill worker, but was a guitar player and very musical. It goes from way back in his family, grandparents, all the way back. And Lake Havasu. Okay, Lake Havasu, Arizona. Okay. What his kids said about him is they described Joseph Jackson as a man with an iron fist. Okay. My own dad, right from Italy, I'm first generation American, was a big strap person. Now, I didn't get it. Once I did, but it wasn't something that happened to me a lot. It did my brother. He was the oldest, and my dad was different. Old school, it was the strap or a switch from a weeping willow tree. You understand? That's was part of the culture then. Joseph Jackson went beyond that. He, according to his children, he was abusive. And his wife had to sit there and not say a word, or she would have gotten it next. The film is phenomenal for a fan. It doesn't go real deep. I may go back and see it again. It's in theaters. I absolutely loved the film. I think his nephew, Jafar, I think it's Jafar or Jamal Jafar Jackson, did an excellent job. I got all kinds of questions about that, though. All kinds of questions about that. At the age of 5, okay, now think about this. You have a child, young child, 5 years old, okay? I have grandkids, young like that. Can you imagine having one of those kids perform professionally in bars, in clubs, everywhere? 5 years old. I can't even think of it. By the time he was 11, he was on national TV. Never had a childhood. Loved Peter Pan. Then you wonder why he created Neverland, a home with all kinds of animals, and because he didn't have a childhood at all. He carried an entire, at 11 years old, 11, he carried an entire band and a family of 9 financially. He was the breadwinner. Joseph wasn't working in the steel mill anymore. It was about the Jackson 5. That's a lot to put on any kid. And there's something, and I'm going to repeat it because it doesn't get talked about enough. He never had a childhood. He said it in many interviews. I've always been a big MJ fan, always. So I've seen every interview. I'm going to talk about his disguises. I mean, I know a lot about Michael Jackson, and what it did is it stirred up that film that I saw actually a week ago today. We went to see it after last week off the cuff. Stirred it all up. So people say, well, he was childlike. He was, but there's really nothing wrong with that. Doesn't scripture say we should be as little children? And then people get upset with him because he's like that. He talked about his father like he took my childhood and I can never get that back. And Joe Jackson admitted, if you look up interviews, I don't know how many are left. I used to watch them on YouTube, but Joe Jackson admitted to whipping Michael more than even the other kids with a belt and a switch because he was the one that was going to lead them into stardom, and he knew it. And he always negative. There was a negative in him, in Joe Jackson. He would call Michael ugly, and he would make fun of his nose. Can you imagine? Then you wonder why he ended up with a nose that had like hardly no cartilage left in it, because he was constantly trying to fix it perfectly. He's a human. He's a human being. And look, Joe Jackson was emotionally absent to his wife, to his kids, and it left marks on all of them that no amount of money or fame could cover up. But so why does this matter? Why is it important that you understand that? Because when you sit with the idea that one of the most beloved and talented human beings in the world grew up being completely unloved by his own father, a lot of things start to make sense. And you need to understand, we all do, that he was working out his childhood and, in essence, his salvation in front of an entire world. I have issues when people come at me just from my platform. I can't even imagine people going into his private life. He couldn't leave the house without people flogging him. When you think of all that, Neverland makes complete sense. He was obsessed with children's innocence. It makes complete sense. The surgeries that attempt to literally reshape his face. He wanted higher cheekbones. He had implants put in, more of a jawline, extraordinarily gifted. In my opinion, say what you want, the most talented person ever. He, the world in his life had a front row seat to the circus that was the Jackson 5 and the Jackson family. So let's talk about Michael, who Michael actually was, because I'm going to go into some wild stuff, but hold on. There's so much noise now. You know me, there's noise. I come to kind of bring the truth. It's what I do. We've lost the truth because of the noise, because Michael came out, the film. It's the biggest hit going, making tons of money, executive produced by his family, except for Janet and his daughter, Paris. Okay. But there's reasons why, and I'll go into it. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Just so you realize how big this guy is, Thriller is the best-selling album of all time to this day. 70 million copies sold worldwide in any genre, R&B, pop, soul, crooning, doesn't matter. Best-selling album worldwide. And he released a song, Thriller, and a video that was 6 minutes long. Okay. It was all about the radio back then. They could not get their hands on it fast enough, and he broke through where it was 3 minutes. To this day, you time songs on the radio, if you listen to Sirius or whatever, they're 3 minutes long, especially country. So here's what's wild with all of this. It's not even the sales that really speak to me. It's his artistry. Michael Jackson didn't just sing. He didn't just dance. He conceived of things. See, that's my realm. That's what I do. One of my greatest gifts is the conception of ideas that I'm in the middle of again. Praise the name of Jesus. I'm in the middle of it again. I conceive of ideas that has not been done. And so for me to look at him, I see beyond a singer and a dancer. He was a conceiver. He described, he was a genius. There was the Thriller music video. The song was 6 minutes long. The video was 14 minutes long. It was a short film. Music videos just were coming out. They were barely doing the entire song, sometimes just 2 minutes. He hired a Hollywood horror director. He wrote a mini film, and he had his face completely redone with prosthetics, okay? He changed what a music video even was. He pioneers dance moves that are literally being studied in some of the most famous artistic institutions today. This whole thing, the stomping, coming forward. You ever watch that Thriller video? It's like something, whether you like the content or not, that's not it. I'm talking above that. He was a producer, a songwriter, off the wall, off the wall. Oh my God. He wrote or co-wrote almost every single song he ever did. We don't talk about that enough. He wasn't just a vehicle to make money. Of course, with the record labels he was. CBS, Epic, those that owned him. And to his father, he was just a front man that would make him famous and make his family a lot of money. Family, family, family. What he was saying, really, Joe Jackson, was me, me, me. That's what he was saying. He was a dadager. I do not like dadagers and momagers. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell you something you guys don't know. It was 2012. 2014, maybe. I had a major production company come to me and my youngest daughter, and Dennis, of course, but I was the manager. And E wanted to buy, we went to an attorney and everything. I mean, if I tell you, it was a years long attorney fees. There was 4 of us they were going to do, and they were calling it momager. Okay. I didn't like it. I didn't like that. I didn't want to be put in that pigeonhole because it was about my clients and my daughter. It wasn't about me. I always took the back seat. It's only in 2021 when I got pushed out of my nest that this happened. I never would do it. That name, momager, dadager, I didn't end up doing it, is people that don't have it themselves, so they use it through other people and let other and take the credit for it. He was the genius. Jackson 5 without Michael would have been Jackson 4 playing in local clubs. He broke racial barriers in American music. Very real in the 80s. 80s MTV, all white artists. Some of the most talented to this day are Black musicians, Hispanic. They would not allow anything other than white. And let me just do a little aside here. I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, let's get off the black and white thing. Listen, I was so just let me vent a little, okay? I was 6 years old and went to first grade. I basically had a face like this, just shrink it down. And I looked just like I do. My nose was bigger because my nose was like the same size it is now on a littler face. So I look like, Jimmy Durante kind of person. I wore earrings. Nobody had their ears pierced then. We were probably the only Italian family immigrants in the whole town. My mother had me wear 18 karat gold long dangly earrings to school. I still have them. Homemade dresses. Everything was homemade. When I opened up my lunch, it smelled up the room from mortadella and capacol and you understand? I was made fun of. To this day, I remember how I was made fun of. And my mother was a working mom. So I had to go with my neighbor across the street when it was Parents' Day. She pretended I was with her because she felt so bad for me. I was ridiculed beyond belief. Nonstop. I had a mole on my arm this big that people would pick at it. It was dark brown. I eventually, my mother removed it because kids were going like this and it was getting infected. I had big red spots. It was bad. So now let's go to Michael. 50s, 60s, bad. 70s, 80s. Do not tell me that people were not racist. Do not tell me that. Do not. Because if there was one, I don't want to say her name, one brown, they called her brown, colored girl in my town in Massachusetts, and I stuck with her like glue because I knew what she was going through. They would make faces, they would hold their nose when she walked by. There is real depth here that it doesn't matter what you think now. I'm going to say it because nobody else will. People went through hell right up until the 80s with Michael and MTV, right up until the 80s. Do you know that CBS, okay, and it's in the film, had to threaten MTV to pull all the artists if they did not play the video Billie Jean? And once Michael was on MTV, everything changed. Everything changed. Changed for artists of color. Changed for, I appreciate, I love all cultures. I love the music they bring. That doesn't mean you change me, change who I am. I'm not saying that. But we must embrace people and their talent. And in the 80s, they would not do that because he was a colored boy. Did not matter what a genius he was. But when he broke that color barrier, he obliterated it. He smashed it to smithereens. And I got goosebumps saying that. Thank God for it. Thank God for it. Because the black artists that came after him, some of the greatest ones, my husband, the greatest ones were his favorites. And now, even in the 80s, we're not in our teens, we could watch, people on MTV and see the artists that we loved. They got onto mainstream pop. This is what he did. The black artists had crossover success everywhere. They walked on a path that Michael Jackson took a machete and sliced. You want to know why? Because he sat there and they knew, if you don't put this on, we're walking. And CBS couldn't do that. Now they fought at first. They fought Joe Jackson. They fought the family, but then they knew that he had to do it. Now, no one gives him credit for that, but it's true. And before we get into anything else, I need us to hold that thought for a second. See, this isn't just a pop star. This was, I call him a cultural architect. He changed culture and for the better. Okay? I thought about him and who he was, and that's who he is. He's an architect of culture. Now, let me tell you about a few other things. I'm going to get in the controversies and the conspiracies. Just hang on. It's going to be a longer show. Let's talk about things that people don't talk about as well, because I'm going to give him every stinking kudo I can give him. His business power. Michael just didn't make music. He owned catalogs. Do you understand? That wasn't his father saying, let's buy a catalog. That was him. He owned most of the Beatles' publishing. Okay, and let me explain to you what that means, okay? For those of you that don't understand about publishing. I have a publishing company, okay, because I have music that, it's just a long story, but I have a publishing company, okay, with one of my daughters. When you have a publishing company, and say I owned the song Billie Jean, okay, and I split it like 50-50 with the artist or the artist's representation, the company and the label that they're signed with, and the artist gets a dime off of that. The songwriters get 3 cents. It's all divided up, okay? The publishing company gets at least 50%, sometimes more. So what's happening is I own Billie Jean. Every time Billie Jean is played on the radio, played on Sirius, played on YouTube. That's why if I couldn't play Michael's songs on here, I'd get a copyright strike and I would have to take down this because they get money and I'm not a label. So I'm not going to pay them money to use that. And they'll say, do you want to pay? And I'm like, no. So just take it down. So I have to be very careful what I put on here. He owned most of the Beatles publishing. Give that some thought. He owned other catalogs. That is huge. That's called major influence. And when you start talking about influence in the entertainment industry at that level, you're not talking about art anymore. You're talking about control. Major control. And record labels are not fond of losing control. I sat with more than I care to tell about, with my own daughter and with other clients. You don't give them everything. Most people who sign a record deal make money from endorsement places, like they become, like Rihanna has her own line of makeup. You understand? That's how they make money. They make a few cents on every play, every whatever. You'd have to get a billion views to make any kind of decent money. And some people do approach that. So historically, in the business that I was a part of for many, many years and will be again, anytime someone holds that level of power, there are forces at play that sit up and pay attention. And he wasn't stupid. Michael was anything but stupid. I believe that he believed that they wanted it all back under their control. Ultimately, they got it. 1993. Suddenly, right after he acquires the Beatles catalog, everything turns. So at the height of his fame, 1993, he's in the middle of the Dangerous World Tour. He's done Pepsi deals. He's done the Super Bowl halftime show, by which that halftime show got higher ratings than any Super Bowl game itself. Untouchable, not even close, and probably will never surpass that again. So the rest of you freaking stars that are exuding Satan, go sit on it, because you'll never touch him. Then Jordan Chandler. Who's Jordan Chandler? Look him up. He changed things. A 13-year-old boy, okay, Jordan Chandler, whose father, Evan Chandler, filed allegations of sexual abuse against Michael Jackson. The story immediately explodes. Why wouldn't it explode? This is the most perfect way to get him. Of course. Because he's got a house. In front of the house it's in the bushes, it says Neverland. He's got animals, giraffes, llamas, all horses. They're all roaming free on his land, which was acres and acres in Beverly Hills, with a house that defies imagination. And his best friend is Bubba the chimp. Okay. And he is always around little kids. Now I'll get into that in a minute. Now understand, let's go fact by fact. Okay. Number one, Evan Chandler, the boy's father, was recorded on tape. But now I can't play it. You look for it, you'll find it. You go dig. You look up Evan Chandler on TikTok mostly. Evan Chandler tape before that allegations were made about Michael Jackson. Okay, go look it up. If I play it, this thing will get taken down. So I'm paraphrasing here. Okay, Evan Chandler had a plan, and it would be devastating to Michael. Now, he wanted to destroy his career. Okay, why would he want to destroy his career? I believe, I don't know who, but he definitely was I believe he was paid to do that. The tape was played in court. Think about that. Okay. Number two, Jordan Chandler, the one who he's supposed to have done something with, as an adult, recanted everything, blamed it all on his father and on other influences. He sued his father for battery. Jordan Chandler sued his father for battery. He must have physically said, "I'll kill you if you don't say this." Father and son were estranged for the rest of Evan Chandler's life, so they never spoke again. Right after Michael Jackson, Evan Chandler died by suicide. And I can't say that word, and I should have said unalived. Again, this is for entertainment purposes only. I don't know any of this really. I have no idea. Number three, the settlement. A lot of people will use this and they say, well, he paid Evan Chandler $23 million. And that makes him guilty. You know, guilty people pay. But the truth of the matter is that Michael's legal team, and this is on record, go look it up, it's on record, advised that this settlement, because a criminal child would have been impossible to conduct fairly, because what they've done to him up to this point, and it was a complete media circus. And you probably remember him standing on a car outside of the court declaring his innocence. The Chandlers refused to cooperate with the criminal investigation after receiving the money, and that effectively ended the DA's case. Now, am I telling you with certainty what happened? Do I have every nuance, every subtlety? No, I wasn't there. But I do have a lot that is, you can corroborate, I'm saying. He obviously did it. He paid. That's not the full picture, and it's not even close. Now, let's go to the next thing I'm going to discuss. Leaving Neverland and the Wade Robson problem. The 2019 documentary, Wade Robson and James Safechuck. And I know some of you probably are ready to stop listening here, but stay with me, okay? Wade Robson testified under oath in 2005 at Michael Jackson's criminal trial. Can you imagine? In which Michael was acquitted on all 14 counts, that Michael never abused him. He testified to that on the stand in a court of law. Then in 2013, 4 years after Michael's death, Robson filed a creditor's claim against Michael Jackson's estate. He said he had recovered memories of abuse And now I want some financial damages. Now, here's a question we need to all sit with, okay? Why does a person wait to the person's dead, okay, and their estate is worth hundreds of millions of dollars to come forward? Why didn't they first testify in defense of the person in a criminal trial? Why did they do that with Michael Jackson sitting there, staring him in the face? And he says it never happened. Now, bear with me. I want to be careful here. I'm not dismissing any abuse allegations lightly. I don't do that. If you know, the biggest thing right now in the world for me is the kids. There's abuse everywhere. DC, Hollywood, Arizona, Indiana. It's everywhere. That's real. That happens. Trauma is complicated, and I'm not dismissing that. But what I am saying is that the financial incentive was enormous. And I'm saying that the timing of it raises questions that the documentary and the current film does not answer. And I am saying that a court dismissed Robson's lawsuit because he filed it too late under the statute of limitations. And when he tried to refile under a different legal theory, that was dismissed too. In the court, he said, absolutely not. This is all baloney. Michael never touched me, ever. Documentary was powerful filmmaking. It was emotionally devastating to watch, but powerful and true are not the same thing. We know that being in the church. Powerful and truth do not have to line up. So let's ask questions. That's what I do. Try to clear the noise and the debris even more so you can hear the truth. All right, let's go there. Conspiracy conversation, okay? His death. Officially, we know it involved complications related to medication administered by his physician. Documented. Reality. And we all know documentation claims truth is, right? Isn't that correct? There are questions that have lingered and lingered and lingered. Why weren't certain safeguards, why weren't they in place if he was dealing with an overabundance of taking these drugs at night? Why weren't there safeguards in place? Where was his very close bodyguard that became one of his best friends? How did things escalate to this point? Why were the warning signs ignored, if there were warning signs? Was there negligence, like it said, involuntary manslaughter? Or was it something deeper? Again, not here to throw out claims, but I do think it's fair to say that when something that significant happens to someone that influential in a very influential place like Hollywood, people are going to ask questions, and sometimes they stop at what they believe is truth and they don't dig deeper because it may not line up with what they believe. This happens in the political world all the time. It's happening right now. And not all those questions come from conspiracy about Michael Jackson. Some come from a desire to get clearer, for clarity. But sadly, many times there's foul play. Look, you can call it a conspiracy if you want. I hate that word. But more times than not, something nefarious is going on. You know the old saying, where there's smoke, there's fire? Ding, ding, ding. That's true. I've gone back and forth with this over the years. I can't even tell you how much. Like many of you probably have. There are moments where you think, how could that be? I don't believe that. And then there are other moments where, wait a minute, that doesn't add up. Something's off. I think there's something powerful about staying in the tension long enough to actually think and discern. See, you're in the tension. You're praying. You're asking God, reveal it to you. But this, but that, Lord, that's what I do. I don't just accept what's handed to me. They lied. They lied, folks. And I processed it doing this show. So let's process deeper. Here's song lyrics. I'm going to read these to you now. I've got them in front of me. That say things that might blow your mind. You want to be starting something. You want to be starting something. No, 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 no. That song. Very, very popular. Okay? The lyrics. I said you want to be starting something. You got to be starting something. It's too high to get over, too low to get under. You're stuck in the middle, and the pain is thunder. You love to pretend that they're good, and when you're always up to no good, you really can't make him hate her, so your tongue becomes a razor. Someone's always trying to start something. Treacherous, cunning. You got my baby crying. You're a vegetable. You're a vegetable. Still they hate you. You're a vegetable. You're just a buffet for them. You're a vegetable. They eat off of you. You're a vegetable. Billie Jean is always talking when somebody else is talking, telling lies and rubbing shoulders. So they called her mouth a motor. You're a vegetable. Give that some thought. Give that some thought. This one, they don't really care about. They don't really care about us. That one, it's like a march, okay? Skinhead, deadhead, everybody gone bad. Situation, aggravation, everybody's allegation. In the suite on the news, everybody is in dog food. Bang, bang, shot dead. Everybody's gone mad. All I want to say is they don't really care about us. You beat me. You hate me. You can never break me. Will me, thrill me. You will never kill me. Do me, sue me. Everybody do me. Kick me, strike me. Don't you black or white me. Tell me what has become of my life. I have a wife and 2 children who love me. I am the victim of police brutality now. I'm tired of being the victim of hate. You're raping me of my pride. Oh, for God's sake, I look to heaven to fulfill its prophecy. Set me free. Tell me what has become of my rights. Am I invisible because you ignore me? Your proclamation promised me free liberty. Now I'm tired of being the victim of shame. They're throwing me in a class with a bad name. I can't believe this is the land from which I came. Truth, the narrative. Most times, it's not the same thing. Narratives are shaped. Truth just is. Narratives are influenced. They're edited. They're repeated until they feel like it's truth. You see, that's programming. Truth, 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 truth. Then all of a sudden, narrative skewing truth, narrative, then that becomes the truth. They're repeated and repeated. Truth takes a little more effort, requires us to slow down, to question, to look at multiple angles. So let me go to the new film that I saw last week, 2026. We have a new biopic, simply titled Michael, directed by Antoine Fuqua, starring Jafar Jackson, Michael's own nephew, in the lead role. Immediately, the internet splits in half. Some people said it's too soon. Some people said it's self-serving because the Jackson estate produced it. Like that's a problem with the hell they've gone through? You have a problem because you rather have the record label produce it? Jeez, give it some thought, guys. And immediately, all kinds of stuff started happening. And here's what I think is really interesting about the film. It does not shy away from the complicated parts. Now, look, there's 2 members of the family, Paris, his daughter, and Janet, his sister, that don't agree. They wanted to see everything right in your face. I personally love the way they handled it. You knew what was going on behind the scenes. You didn't have to see Michael being whipped. You didn't have to see, you didn't. It was done very tastefully. But, you know, the film showed a glimpse into Michael's life, and not drag everything through the mud. Must have been very hard for the brothers to do this, and pick what was in the film, not to lose what Michael is and was, and what his fans wanted to see. The casting of Jafar is fascinating to me. And this is what the question I have. A woman who I'm going to be in contact with, by the way, was one of Michael's PR agent, and was on his management team for many years. And she said something in an interview that really blew my mind. She said they went 2 years looking for the right person to play Michael Jackson in the Michael film. 2 years? 2 years? They took 2 years, and they had him right in his family. Something's off about that. I have some speculation. Then she was asked, why did they cast Jafar after all that time? She said, I have no clue. So that's fascinating. He looks remarkably like his uncle. He does. And there's something warm and fuzzy about a child that is related by blood to the man that, you know, we all know and love. And it feels different than just casting a Hollywood actor. And you feel it in the film. You feel it. I cried. I felt the spirit of that film and that family in that film. I can't even tell you. At some points I was shaking. I felt it all. But I think people are, what people are really wrestling with isn't Michael Jackson specifically, but it's the broader question. How do we consume a celebrity like that? How we build people up, how we tear them down, and whether any of it or all of it is true. But the deeper truth is this, and here's where I want to land. There are some things about Michael Jackson's story that I think are buried under all the noise. I'm giving you some of it today. And they're actually the most important thing. Because see, as a human, your life and your childhood, no matter how long you spend on an analyst's couch, unless you get an absolute bona fide miracle from God that erases all of it and all the trauma, and God does it a lot, did it with my husband, you're not going to get rid of that. Michael Jackson spent tens and some say hundreds of millions of dollars on charitable giving throughout his life, quietly. He actually holds the Guinness Book of World Records for the most charities and amount of money supported by a pop star. He funded full hospitals, children's organizations, disaster relief. This wasn't PR. People didn't even know about it. Most of it was done anonymously. The man who was accused of not caring about children and coming against them by documented records is one of the most generous private donors to children's causes in the history of entertainment, in the history of people giving out of entertainment. That's real. No noise, no opinion, truth. Then Macaulay Culkin came forward multiple times saying that Michael Jackson was innocent. And then he was on several interviews, one of them which was Larry King, short time after Michael Jackson was no longer with us the way he was originally. And Larry King said to him, why, again, I could have played the clip, but I'm afraid. I got clips I'm going to play, but I was kind of concerned. So he said, why did you say you slept in Michael's bedroom? And a lot of kids do. And he said, because Michael Jackson's bedroom is huge. It's like the size of a house, and it's 2 stories, and it's got 3 bathrooms, and it's got all different areas of it. We didn't sleep in his bed. That was his huge bedroom. And then Barbara Walters has an interview with Macaulay right after. You see, she got to get her nose in there. I don't like the woman, never did. And she says, you said you slept in his bed. I mean, his bedroom, his bed. And she says it like that. And she deliberately implies, and he said, no, I said his bedroom. She implies something that no one ever said. Number one, I hate people, no matter who they are, small, little people, big people that will say and do anything as a story at the expense of other people, even those watching, instill fear, anything to make money and be a name and have it all. I hate that. Probably my biggest pet peeve. Again, in 2005, he's gone, I mean, he's 4 years before he is not in the public eye anymore. He was acquitted of all 14 counts, all not guilty. How many people know that? Not a lot, because they're stuck in the narrative. They love it. People love to see. Some people are just awful. I don't know what else to say. The FBI investigated Michael Jackson for over a decade. 10 years. Never brought charges. The FBI file was eventually released under the Freedom of Information Act. And I'd encourage all of you to go look it up. FBI, Freedom of Information Act, Michael Jackson. What you'll find is a lot of nothing. An exhaustive investigation that produced no evidence, no victims, zero. Now, let me go a little bit further. Let's talk about Michael Jackson's skin. For years, he was mocked and told that he was bleaching his skin. He was called a race traitor. Could you imagine? He was called delusional. And the truth is, and it was confirmed medically after his death, because they saw death after they saw other parts of his body, obviously. Maybe, I'm saying that he had vitiligo, which is lack of pigmentation in his skin. And that's why he started wearing gloves. You realize that? Because of the vitiligo, because it was coming off his hands. He didn't choose to change his appearance. His body changed. And rather than be transparent about a deeply personal medical condition, he retreated. Can you blame him after all he'd gone through? He can't walk out the door without being attacked. He'd already been burned by the media a dozen times, and still they mocked him for it. Then the loneliness. I think about this one a lot. Here is someone who was famous from the age of 5, who never had a normal life, normal friendship, normal schooling, didn't play sports, didn't play softball, didn't go out and play kickball with the kids, surrounded by adults his whole life, and deeply, profoundly alone, except for his chimp Bubbles. That's heartbreaking. And this thing, I think, is probably most important. The narrative was set before the evidence was ever in. Once the media decided who Michael Jackson was, the story never changed. It never changed. Every piece of evidence that fell was filtered through them wanting to see him guilty. Good things got ignored. Expulgatory evidence got buried. And we all just kept scrolling. That's not justice. That's not truth. That's a machine grinding someone up into little pieces. Now, look, let's talk about this too. I'm not here to tell you Michael Jackson was a saint or that he's dead or alive. I don't know for sure. But I do question some things. Watch this. Watch. Footage of Michael Jackson being transferred from a helicopter. Look what he was put in. Coroner, see the whole thing? Look at the license plate. Look closely as much as you can see it. You can see it's like IC, whatever. Now watch this. A fan followed the ambulance with Michael Jackson inside and caught someone that looked like Michael Jackson coming out. No offense. That's the same ambulance. Watch this. Black thing over his head. Watch. Same number. Same number. Last ever phone call. They could kill me. Now, why I decided to do this is that this story is more complicated than what anyone ever thought it was. And you deserve the complicated version. So I'm going to complicate it even more. Okay? Michael Jackson, and we knew this. I knew this being in LA. I knew this. And let me tell you how else I knew it. One of my clients was in, and I said this before, I got to be very careful here, in a session, a songwriting session with a relation to Michael Jackson, and said it's all BS, the whole thing. This was after what happened to him in 2009, and do not believe any of it. And I want you to know he's a master of disguises. That client came back to me and told me this. I knew who the person was. They were absolutely related to Michael Jackson, and they were working on this song with my client. He was a master of disguises. He loved to play other characters, and it gave him freedom. He could walk out and be free, not get a bunch of screaming fans. So let's look at some of these. That's two of them right there. Okay, there's two. Here's the one he did when he was with his first wife, Lisa Marie Presley. He was seen with her like that a lot. And then there's this. There was this one. Did the guy on the right a lot with the regular hat, with the herringbone jacket. But then this one is the most interesting. When I show you this is very, 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 very similar to one of Michael Jackson's first doctors, not the one that was accused, a different doctor. And so what he did one day is he said, I'm going to dress up like I'm going to put up the whole thing. And they took pictures of him. And that's him down the bottom, right, with the glasses, okay? That's Michael Jackson. Now, what is interesting about all this is that guy you see on the bottom right is with almost all the time Michael Jackson's son, Prince. He's like his best friend. Go look for pictures. Put in Michael Jackson's son, Prince, and Michael's doctor. You'll see. He's with him all the time. So, is it Michael? I don't know. He was a genius. He was wounded. He was exploited. He was accused. He was acquitted. Nobody knew. He was adored. He was destroyed. He was human. And somewhere in all of that humanity, in the gap between the myth and the man, is truth that most people never bothered to look for. So the film is out. Conversation's loud again. And I think that's actually an opportunity. And I took it to ask better questions, to look at it, the tension of it, to resist the easy narrative. Because there's the thing about truth that it rarely hits the headline. Now, I want you to watch this. This was 1 week before he was no longer here and was working on the This Is It tour. Watch this.
This is it. And when I say this is it, it really means this is it. I'll be performing the songs my fans want to hear. This is it. I mean, this is really it. This is the final curtain call.
It's the final curtain call. This is it. This is it. Never did it. In the middle of that, no longer with us. In the film, Michael, after it was over, on the end screen, flashed, the story continues. So let's bring it back to something deeper, okay? Before I go there, I told you this is going to be long. This is going over an hour now. There's a guy. He goes by Dave. Okay, if you look him up on YouTube, he's had a interview. He only came out after Michael was no longer here. He came out. Go watch the interview with Larry King and listen to his voice and what he looks like, and tell me what you think. Get a little homework. You can email me. You can make a comment on here. But no matter what you believe about Michael Jackson, there's a bigger truth here. People are complicated. Many layers to people. Fame doesn't fix the trauma. Money doesn't fix the trauma. Influence doesn't fix it. Only truth does. To me, truth is the most important thing. Other than God and my family, truth is the most important thing in my life. Real truth doesn't just expose things. It restores perspective and brings clarity. It brings understanding. And sometimes it brings compassion where judgment used to be. So today wasn't about landing on a final conclusion, especially if he's here or not here. Maybe it was about being willing to ask better questions and remembering that people can be set up. I'm one of them. Arrested for grand larceny, 2nd degree. Never did it, ever. All charges were dropped. Spent time in a jail cell. Me. Remembering people can be set up. People can be framed. Put in a box that they don't belong in, that there's no truth in there at all. It's important to not just go by the loudest voice, because the loudest voice and the one that's got the most clicks and the most views are usually the ones that are off the wall. Because it's affecting them. the news shows, it affects them. They're always vying for ratings because rating means higher advertising dollars. It's all about money, guys. It's all about money. He was put in a box that wasn't truth at all. But at the end of the day, if enough people would do this, lies will fade. Lies will fade. Legends do get exaggerated. But truth has a way of resurfacing, even if it takes time. I did today, knowing it would be long, and I have a meeting after this that I'm late for, but this is what I know. It was very, very, very important for me to bring truth about Michael Jackson and possibly have your mind start wondering and questioning, looking up some stuff yourself, but to take the narrative of everything that they threw at him, and he was acquitted of every single thing, but people still believe it. They refuse to believe the truth. I had to be part of that truth. I'm sorry, no questions. I can't do it. I'm going to end with this. More truth. You really want some powerful truth? Join us online, June 20th, 1 to 6 p.m., or in person, which is a whole nother experience. Go to thegatheringmovement.org. Please subscribe. And also go to the gatherings and you'll get your tickets there. They're always, always free. I hope you guys got something out of this. I hope you enjoyed hearing the truth that you might not get from a lot of people. No hype, just truth. Love you all. I will not see you Friday or Sunday on Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to everyone, by the way. My youngest that just got married, her husband is graduating with his MBA, and so we are off. It is actually on Friday night, so there's nothing I can do. But we will see you next week. Love you all dearly. Thank you for all the support. If you've not subscribed on YouTube or on Rumble, please do that and help us spread the word. Okay, love you. Happy Mother's Day, ladies and gentlemen that have to be mothers as well. Love you all. Remember to always go in the power of God, which actually is all truth. Amen. Bye for now.